All right, Tales from the Afterlife. So I'm a whole therapist now, lived experience. I got the drug and alcohol certification. I got my master's degree in clinical social work. I got my bachelor's in psychology, but Tales from the Afterlife. So in the last drawing, I was talking about uh, different situations. Now, when I caught the charge with the ball, like we ended up getting probation. But I still thought it was a bogus charge. Like, yeah, not a bogus charge, but the situation was sketchy to me. Like, so me and my homie went, and I think it might have been another one of my homies, and then it was a whole bunch of the chicks. It was like we were outnumbered by chicks, which was a good thing. But I ain't getting into that. But they had like two of their homies there, but there was a party, and I guess the party was around the corner from our Rod's crib, but our ride wasn't home. So like, yeah, I mean, so after the party ended up like this. This is when I'm 19. So the party ended like at 12, like 12 a.m., 1 a.m., something like that. And me and the boy, we went to stand over by where the our rod was staying, like his girlfriend crib, and he wasn't there like at the time, but he was coming back there. And for whatever reason, like it was taking like 4 to 5 hours. You know what I mean? I don't know. It took a long time. If the party was over at 12 or 1, like I don't know. We was out there for a while. Now to me, like yeah, I mean, we was out there like all right. So I was selling weed at the time. I was 19. My other homie had got locked up, and the other nigga I used to chill with was out of town. Or he moved out of town. He moved out of town after that last incident. But he wasn't caught up with the cops, and neither was the other boy that got locked up for something different. So we were just standing there, basically waiting for our ride. You get what I'm saying? And I don't think we were loud enough. And like I know we was probably sitting out there cutting up, telling jokes, saying wild, funny shit and shit like that. It was me and my homie was a white boy. But like I said, I was selling at the time. But for whatever reason, I had like a couple nicks and a couple dimes on me, and like yeah, I mean, I guess I got off the rest of my work, and he had my work on him too, and he had a couple dubs on him. But like, you know what I mean? So we was out there, and that's only, I'm saying that not to glorify that or nothing like that, but it's a part of the story. So we were out there chilling, waiting for the ride, and like I said, I don't think we were being loud enough, but I don't know. At a certain point, we were surrounded by cops, and they were like, "Yo, what y'all doing?" We was like, just waiting for our ride. Like, what? Like, yo, and I guess at a certain point they ended up searching us and they found weed on me, they found weed on him, and they took us. And that's when the boy, like I ain't saying the boy was on no like girl and stuff. He just didn't know like what was going to happen. Like he ain't had no idea. So like you know what I mean. And like I said, at this point, that was the second time I'd been down, like held, detained, whatever you want to say, but was released ROR, released on your own recognizance and stuff like that. They trust that you're not going to skip bail, so they don't give you no, you know what I mean? It's a minor charge. Like a lot of times they're not going to even like give you a bail. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I know at 55th and Pine, I had to see like this TV judge, but there, I don't even think. I think the morning came up, they gave us a arraignment date or a preliminary hearing date, I forget, and we left on our own recognizance. But like I said, the whole night he was like stressed out until like I was like, hold up, is that you? And he's like, yo, oh, so you was over there this whole time? I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. And then I explained to him like we probably gonna sit until morning and then be released. Like, and like I said, I wasn't on no super G stuff the first time. It was just like the analytical logic mind I be having. It's like you really didn't catch me doing stuff. I was with the boy who ran off. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you ain't catch him. So it's like that was my thinking. I don't know how accurate that was or whatever, but for this time, it was just weird to me because, like I said, we were waiting for a ride, but we weren't like being all crazy enough. And the amount of cops, there was probably like 6 to 8 cops that pulled up, but like we were in the county out here, and like you know what I mean. I know it's not. It's probably as much as action especially in that part of the county that we were in. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm used to, like, 2 cops coming when they called. Like, you know what I mean? When I was a young boy, it was usually 2 cops coming. Like, you know what I mean? There was a different situation with the same boy. Like, this was, I think, after we graduated, but I don't know. I can't remember. It might have been after 10th grade year, but I don't know. I don't remember. It was a boy. Now, I ain't really had no beef with him from school, but I know we seen him. And, like, at that point in time, like, you know what I mean? I was, like, you know what I mean, up for anything. And, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't no troublemaker, but, like, you know what I mean? I would be on some dumb stuff. And we seen the ball, and I knew I was just on something, like, you know what I mean? There was this chick that I was feeling in school, and I was like, every once in a while I hit her up or whatever. And, like, I don't know, somehow word got back to me that the boy was hating to the chick on me, like, you know what I mean? It was a little snow bunny. So, like, when I seen him, it was the summertime. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if we graduated or if it was one of the high school years, but it was definitely in high school. So when we seen the boy, I said that to my homie, the same boy, and my homie said back something like the boy called him gay or some stuff like that or something. I don't remember. Like, I don't know if he made up an excuse to have beef with the boy or not. Like, and so then we seen where he was going. We cut him off. Like, we confronted him, and then we ended up dipping on him. But we had dipped on him, not even ran off, but walked off laughing, whatever. And, like, I guess, like, hours later, the cops came through. It was like, yo, I mean, and they was talking about how we broke his glasses or whatever. I don't remember if they took us or not. I don't know if they took us anywhere. I don't know if that was a juvenile charge neither. Like, that could have been like a juvenile charge. I was like 17, because I know it's not on my record, but I don't remember. Because I remember being in the juvenile court with the same boy a couple times. And I remember getting, community service. I had gotten community service with him, I think twice. Because I remember I had to clean out. I did one community service at this, thrift store. We both did, but not at the same time. Like, I was Monday and Friday, he was Tuesday and Thursday, some shit like that. So I remember that was one time, and that was the whole community service. And then there was another time, again, we didn't do it together, but we were basically sentenced together, and I had to, like, clean out some playgrounds. I had to clean out some train tracks. I had to do some gardening type stuff. And I remember don't like that side of the road stuff. So, like, yeah, I mean, it was 2 different times. And that wasn't even the first time as a juvenile I had community service. I think there was another time where I had dipped on somebody, or no, I fought them straight up. But I guess the boy called the cops. And last time, it was funny to me because, like, it was hours later. Like, we was on the other side of town when we dipped on the ball. And by the time the cops came, like, we were standing at my homie crib, which is up the block. And they pulled up. It was like, I don't even remember if the boy was in the car and pointed us out or whatever. But, like, yeah, I mean, they pulled up, like, hours later, fucking in front of the boy crib. So that was funny. But, the other time, like, I don't remember. It was like I had to do community service, but it wasn't like I went in front of, like, the town council. I didn't go out to, like, the capital of our county or whatever. And like I said, like, even when I listened to Jay John, like, you know what I mean? Not soon you'll understand, but you must have loved me when it was like, when he starts out, since my date of birth, I gave you nothing but hurt, play those video games, stole change from your purse. Like, I can relate to all that. But then when he say, on a cold court bench, you sit while it's raining in your skirt, like, and, like, that really hit and touched a nerve with me, because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people I know ain't never seen the principal office, like, real rap. Like, I ain't even never seen any principal office, grade school, junior high, high school. And I'm, like I said, I'm not bragging. It's just like it touched that nerve. And, like, I joke in hindsight, like, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't never really had detentions. I had a bunch of suspensions. Like I was saying, in the Catholic school across the street from my house, I was the first person in like the 100 years, the first and only person in 100 years, because it closed 2 years after I got kicked out, that had out of school suspension. And I was the first and probably the only. I was there with somebody else when they implemented the in school suspension, and they were with me doing whatever I did. So, you know what I mean, that was that. But and I got expelled from both Catholic schools and a couple public schools. And like I would say, like I ain't never even had too many detentions. And like I said, it's not to brag. It's just like, I mean, sometimes when I see some people and they act like I can't relate, or I wasn't who I was, my past is fictitious. It's like, yo, like today that hurt. Like, you know what I mean? Then I was a hardhead. Like, I don't even care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just on to the next adventure on some dumb stuff. But back then it'd be, or now, and as I was growing up as an adult, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I get like certain people had that, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, but like, yeah, I mean, ain't everybody go through that, but like when you a juvenile, and like I said, there's people that go through it. It's probably a small. I ain't special, but at the same time, because there was other, like it was the waiting room in the juvenile court was full, and like, yeah, I mean, it was sitting on the bench and stuff. I still remember what it looked like, but it's like, yeah, I mean, like for people that want to act certain ways today, or throughout my growth as an adult, especially walking away from crime and doing dumb stuff. And you don't even know me from the streets. You just know me from street dudes that you see me with. I'm the dude that you see with them, like, you know what I mean? And that was in the past or whatever. Like, you don't even see me at all now. But, like, I'm saying, like, back then it would be like, yeah, I mean, it struck a nerve because, like I said, like, to be whatever age I was and to have my mom, I think my dad would be there. Sometimes my brother and sister would be there. Like, I remember before I got kicked out of that, like a year or two before I got kicked out of the first Catholic school, they sent me for like, at this point, they might call it wraparound services. At this point, they might call it community mental health. I don't remember, but I had to see a therapist because I was so out of control. And that, like I said, that was like fourth grade. Like I got kicked out of there at sixth grade. And I had to do that. The whole family went, and then the family, like my brother and sister was complaining like they didn't want to go. And my parents was like, well, do we all have to be here? So then they put me into a different program, mental health program for kids with behavioral problems. And I had to go there once a week. And that was that. But like as far as the other community service, I don't remember what I did. I think I got into a fight or beat somebody up, or I don't know. I was the only one that got in trouble in that situation, so I don't think we dipped on the ball. Like there was a lot of them, but like yeah, I mean, I don't think that we dipped on the ball. So I think I was just acting solo. Now the crazy thing is, my homie that was like my best friend at the time, like he went to community service every day with me, and like yeah, I mean, he helped me do the work and shit like that. But we was young boys. We was like 11, 10, 8, something like that. I don't remember. So you know what I mean? He held me down. He came. And the last day of my community service, it was a boy who was like 3 weeks in, and he ended up going to college or high school with me. But 3 weeks, like that's the only relevance to that. It was like 3 weeks into him. It was like week 8, but the boy took us up to Lehigh. I think it might have been the first year that the Eagles practiced up in Lehigh. And that was the end of my joint. That was the last joint that we seen the Eagles. And like I was doing that at church every week. We called the boy the ref. I don't remember his name. It was like it was in this neighborhood, but I don't know. Then there was like I think 3 other times in my juvenile. Like when I hold my groups, I tell people like you know what I mean. Like my juvenile record really, I got more juvenile charges than I do adult charges, and that's really because like yeah, I mean like I met my ex when I was 20. I moved down to Florida when I was 21. It was just my first time living like a regular life. You get what I'm saying? I wasn't in no trouble. I wasn't committing no crimes. I wasn't selling no drugs. I was just in love and chilling, and it was like a tropical place, and it was chill. It was the shit. Like, and I had a lot of fun. Like, we related to each other. Like I've said, probably off screen. Like, she was urban, but she wasn't in like street life. She was urban, so she was familiar with things. And like, you know what I mean, I always say like not to give up too much information at that time. She would be like uh an Al-9 member. Like, you know what I mean, at that time. Like, when I met her, I was 20. She was 16. She told me she was 19, but like, you know what I mean, that really didn't matter. Like, I fell in love. We spent like 4 years together, but like, I spent a year and a half down there. And when we came back up here, I just turned 22. She was 18. It was May, whatever, May of fucking '03. And we moved back up here. And like the whole time I was down there, all I wanted to do was come back up here. Like, you know what I mean? I don't really like it. As great as it was, in some aspects I regretted that, because like, you know, I returned to a heavier dark cloud than I left with. But like, you know what I mean? Like, so we came back up here, and like I said, I turned 22 in October. It was May. We got back. It was August before I caught that major case, and then like that was pretty much like at that point in time, like I felt like the dark cloud got even darker, and I felt like some of the people I knew was trying to like, you know, derail my case, or you know what I mean. So I really fell back from the streets and street life. Like at that time, when we caught the case in '03, we beat like 3 out of 5 of the charges, and then all her charges were dropped, and then I copped out to like 2 misdemeanors. But like at that time, there was a lot of stuff in my outside of that going on, and I felt like a lot of people was taking notice to like the money, because she had started dancing, and like, you know, we was living in an apartment. She 18, I think she might have been 19 at that point. We chilling, like we having a great time, we having a ball, like just the two of us. And my homies is around, but they wasn't like, you know what I mean, like my one homie was locked up again. And then like when we moved out to Philly, like, you know what I mean, like my other homies was probably still, no, they wasn't in school, but like, you know what I mean, it just wasn't, we wasn't chilling all the time. It was more time me and the chick chilling in the crib, like having a ball, and her going to work and coming home and whatever I was doing while she was at work. But it was like, at that point, it was on some like, you know what I mean, it was a lot of like potential for money. Like I was making plans to make big money moves. Like sometimes you'll hear me saying like I felt like I know I should have made like 22 million at 22, and kept building, doing Walmart numbers, because I spent a couple months down there right before we came back working at Walmart, and they went during the training, they said that they make 22 million every 22 minutes. And like, I don't know about that, like, but I add that to the joke. Like at 22, I felt like I should have made 22 million during Walmart numbers. And back then, Walmart was primarily in the South. Like I'm from the Philadelphia area, and they got them now. So I'm guessing they stocks went up. Like they got the rollback prices, and them joints bang, or like pop. Like, you know what I mean? So anyway. So I'm plotting these moves out, just like I do now with the tattoo studio and different things. So I'm plotting these moves out, and like I'm like toward the end of that case, some other stuff popped off. I'm not going to get into, but it was like fun stuff. Like, I don't know, but like, you know what I mean, I felt like people were really starting to take aim and wanted to derail some stuff. So I fell back from the streets at that point. Like when we caught the case, I like kind of paused, but then 12 months later, when we were approaching the case and fighting the case, like I went through a trial. I took it to trial because I knew I wasn't guilty. And during that time, it's like, oh, and then like, you know what I mean, other aspects of different things. Like if you've seen my page, or you've seen, especially if you've seen the Facebook, you would see like I'm talking about gang stalking and gaslighting and just different things like that. So like that was starting to get revved up and in full swing. And at that time, I was like, I didn't know who I could trust. I'm a street dude. Like, I'm from the county, but I'm a street dude. Like, Philly's across the street, whatever. I ain't trying to glorify nothing, but like, yeah, you know I mean, I went from that street hypervigilance, looking over your shoulder, not knowing who you trusted, as real psychological abuse, like what is going on. So like I said, I fell all the way back, and that, like I said, was gone. When I had turned 23, when the day the verdict came down, or the sentencing came down, you get what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, man, like that basically ended my street life at 23. And like I said, she was dancing for a year, and I wasn't moving to work or nothing like that. So from 22 on, like I wasn't really committing crimes. And when she started dancing, there was money coming in, and we was chilling, just living a young life, having fun, exciting, whatever. Now my mind, like always, was plotting on bigger moves, and it just never came to fruition. She ended up moving back after her parents told her that her pop was in the process of passing away, even though he lived another 5 years. And I told her that, and she said something when we talked, like after he passed, like I was like the boy probably gonna be around for like another 5 years. Now I was basically trying to convince her, like, yeah, I mean, like yo, like, but you know what I mean? Like, good thing, like, it's a bad thing that she had to watch her pop deteriorate, and some other stuff went on. Like, her mom passed away as soon as she went down there, and she was, like I said, 19 at the time. She was about to turn 20. I was 23. And then over the next 5 years, she had to, like, basically play home health aide, and I don't even know if she was working as a home health aide, getting no check or nothing, and like other stuff, but I ain't even gonna go into that because that's her business, even though I didn't mention her name. But basically, like I said, at 22, that pretty much ended my street life. So a lot of people sometimes want to gangster test me or measure and stick me, and it's like, first of all, you wasn't who I was in the 80s, and I was born in 1980. Second of all, like I'm saying, like, I don't want to do this because financial Franklin, don't talk to me about no gangster stuff. We can talk business, we can talk politics, we can talk community, we can talk relationships, we can talk whatever. Don't talk to me about no gangster. Don't ever bring that scare shit. But like I'm saying, so at 22, I'm a year past 21. Like, how many, like, and even then, I think I got 3 adult charges. Well, 18, I guess, 18. But I spent 2 years out of like a year and a half out of state, and then, like, you know what I mean, we caught that charge. She was dancing, she left, she did what she did, like, you know what I mean, I still love her to death, we're still in contact every once in a while, but, like, you know what I mean, like, and like I'm saying, I told her this recently, I guess it kind of fucks me up sometimes, because, like, I feel like she came back to the dark cloud with me, and it's like, it forever altered both of our lives. Like, I went away from crime, and she went a different route. I'm gonna say it like that. I'm not judging the route that she went. It's just like that forever, and it was out of either one of her controls, because the dark cloud was meant for me, not her.